was our job to find, kids that wanted to love this place and that would fit here. It's not going to be for everyone, right? We all know that. But that they would be unbelievably taken care of. They'd get better on the court. They'd have a big-time experience of playing basketball at the highest level.
There was a sense of trust. And yeah, I came on a visit and, people say that when you know, you know. And that was exactly how I felt on the visit. I just knew that this was going to be the right place for me. And yeah, it's incredible.
Welcome into the Inside WSU Athletics podcast presented by BECU. Thanks for tuning in today. Excited to get caught up on a whole host of things and to catch up with our guests as well. We've got Kamie Ethridge, WSU women's basketball coach, stopping by, and student athlete for the women's basketball team, Mackenzie Chatfield, joining us as well. And always here with Jon Haarlow. Jon, great to see you. I know since we chatted last here on the podcast, you were down at the Pac-12 meetings. You had some great social events that you were able to take part in. How are you doing? What's the latest?
Yeah, good to see you, Chris. We a busy last week for sure, but that's what we like. It's busy is good. Went down to San Ramon for Pac-12 in-person AD meetings. We had a day and a half discussions with the AD group, and then we were joined on the last half a day by the presidents, and then they had some conversations of their own on Friday. Really productive couple of days. Good to catch up with that group. Appreciate what Teresa Gould does and what she's leading for us here. I think it's easy to think, with the old Pac-12, just kind of roll over some of those types of things and move forward, plug and play. It really couldn't be further from the truth of what we're trying to do in the launch of the new Pac-12. So we covered all sorts of things in those day and a half, everything from, sports sponsorship discussions, obviously scheduling, postseason, governance, minimum standards. We discussed all sorts of different things in there with really hearty conversation in there. Obviously talked through football scheduling and what we've got, what our options are there, what can happen moving forward. I know everybody's chomping on the bit to see what slate we have ahead of us, and feel good about the conversations that we've had. There's still a little time, still things to work through there, but our group and that group is very aware of all the different options that are out there. Always fun to see what Coug Twitter has to say about some of our possibilities out there, but we're staying as plugged in on those types of things. And again, it's fun because we are really building this, and it's not necessarily from a plug and play moving forward. It's from a ground up type of deal. And so we have to talk about a wide breadth of things while we're there. And I appreciate the attention to detail from the league and from the other ADs as well, that we certainly football is one of the larger conversations and commandeers a lot of the time, but we cover all the other sports as well. And there's a lot of discussions to be had, and those things we're on a pretty regular cadence. Obviously we don't meet in person as often, but a pretty regular cadence for catching up as a group. There's urgency there to get those things. We are blistering towards the July 1 launch date, but some really exciting and fun things in the works with that. So a good day and a half there. Went straight from there to Seattle. Obviously, we had Coach Moore over there on. I'm gonna get my days mixed up here, but Thursday night he was at Queen Anne Beer Hall. Saw Marcus Trufant was there. We had some staff, all sorts of Coug faithfuls that came out. I didn't get to participate in that one because I didn't get to Seattle till about 11 o'clock. But awesome turnout from what I heard. Conversations were good. Discussion was great. Fast forward to Friday morning, or Friday, I guess, we had an awesome kind of social get together at Flat Stick. So shout out Andy Largent for allowing us to utilize that space there. Shout out to Jarrett West, who sponsored that. Really good conversations. Again, that was myself, Brad LaRondo, Coach Moore, as well as Brad Hutchins, Marcus Beals, Josh Jordan from our CAF. A lot of good discussions around that. We took a 5-minute breather, it felt like, grabbed some coffee, and then we head to the next social event that we had, which was Marco Polo. Matt Mira hosted us there. I don't know the exact number that we had there at that space, but it was packed. It was vibrant. You couldn't hear yourself think. Coach spoke. Brad Larondo spoke. If you haven't had the fried chicken at Marco Polo Bar and Grill, Chris, you got to have it. It was awesome. So I stuffed myself on pizza at Flat Stick, go right to stuffing myself on the fried chicken at Marco Polo, but wouldn't have it any other way. Again, great conversations. The Coug faithfuls that showed up. We had some other staff that showed up as well. Just really great, the technical term, really great vibes that we've had in those discussions. And you can feel the energy. And I know that we've said it on this podcast, but to hear those on the West Side talk about it as well, that, you know, the energy that they haven't felt like this around football since 2017 and some of the Leach years. And it's one thing for us to say it over here. We can feel it here. It's another thing to see it out in the wild and to continue to be reminded of that what we're doing, we're on the right path here. We've got some really great things in the work, a lot of work to be done, certainly. But it's great to get that feedback. So I ate too much over the course of those couple of days and didn't sleep a lot either. But you know what? It's all for the Cougs, and it's great. I'll share one other story, actually. The team is working so hard and sacrificing so much. And I say the team, I mean our departments. And this is what we're here for, right? This is not to, get empathetic, response from anybody. Like, this is what everyone has bought in on this, and they're sacrificing time from their family, time from their social activities or whatever else. And it's hard work, and but it's fun. And when we're working this hard, because that's what we're here for, and this is what we're here called to do, and we're doing it for a purpose. But I'll be darned if we're gonna work this hard, not have some fun along the same way. So I'm in the airport with our group, and again, we're on the 11 o'clock flight from Seattle back to Pullman. I'm looking around, everybody's smoked. Everybody's got they're delirious a little bit, their bloodshot eyes are like, I just can't wait to get back to my own bed. But we're all laughing and having a good time, and that's important. And I share that because, again, I believe that while everyone is working hard, making these sacrifices, but we believe in the product that we're selling, and we believe it so much that these, lack of a better term, sacrifices that everybody's making are worth it. And I think that we wouldn't have it any other way. So I kind of took a step back during that and thought, okay, culturally, what we're doing here right now, there are some really great things in the works, and I can't say it enough how grateful I am for that team and our team and Coach Moore and his staff. Like the cohesion in that, again, it's not perfect. We've got all sorts of other things to do, and that's what makes it fun too. There's no time to rest. If we rest, somebody's going to get us, right? Like, there's somebody else out there that's not resting at that time, and we want to keep pushing forward. But I'm just so grateful for this group that has galvanized together for this purpose, and their willingness to do this and do this while laughing and smiling. You can feel that, and I'm grateful for them.
Great company, great food, that Cougar camaraderie doesn't get any better than that. And for folks who maybe haven't had a chance to participate in one of these socials yet, there's more opportunities coming up.
Yeah, and you look at my notes here. Again, some days I don't know if I'm coming or going, but so Tri-Cities, we're going to be in Kennewick on Wednesday. It looks like it Zintel Creek Golf Course. I'm sorry, that's next week. See, I don't really know if I'm coming or going. Nope. Let me back up again. This week, we're in Tri-Cities, Kennewick, Zintel Creek Golf Course. I believe that's going to be, I'll have to find the time on that. I think it's maybe 4 to 6:30 on Wednesday night. Coach will be there, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then next week, see, now I'm getting my weeks going here. February 12th at Swinging Doors, and then February 19th at Camas, at Taps, at Oak Tree Station. So a number of different opportunities here. Maybe if we can get advanced, maybe there's some things we could put in our show notes that list some of these out. We'll certainly have them out on socials so that folks can see them there. We're not relying on my memory here to get all this information out, but a lot of opportunities. We're trying to make a point, and we heard it from those on the West Side. We've heard it from those in Tri-Cities and other places that we've got to continue to be out there in person. It's one thing to say things on socials. It's one thing to say stuff on the podcast here, but we've got to get more and more in front of people, because there's nothing that can replace the face-to-face interactions or the meet and greet with Coach. So it's a priority. Still more to come on that.
Love it. Kennewick coming up, and then February 12th at the Swinging Doors, February 19th in Camas. So a lot of great opportunities coming up. And a couple of quick hitters here, John, and we can't wait to get updated on Cougar Athletics, the latest since we last chatted, and also have our guests coming up. But I know a line of Cougar jackets that have come out, and listening, kind of keeping those ears open and hearing that feedback from fans and saying, hey, they see something, they like it, and then it turns into an opportunity for some Coug merch.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're trying to put our ears to the pavement to hear. We can't get better unless we get feedback from those that we're trying to serve, right? So all of the feedback that we get can always shoot us emails. Certainly social media seems to have its footprint right now. We understand that those parkas are in high demand. We heard that from a number of different folks. And so Brad Hutchins, again, with his expertise in understanding the retail side and how we can partner with Nike, BSN, and others to get those out. They moved pretty quickly. We've got some work to do to see if there aren't other opportunities, but a portion of that, you buy that, but a portion of it goes back to student-athlete scholarships as well. So it's a 2-4 there. You get to stay warm in some sideline type gear like the Cougs wear, but also support student-athlete scholarships. So we're always talking about those types of things, other ways to do that. So again, not that we're going to be able to appease all of the different feedback that we get out there, but we are listening, and there's conversations. We want to take that and again, meet our fans where they're at. So that was just one thing. We've got all sorts of other things in the works moving forward as well, but it is exciting to be able to offer those types of opportunities to our fan base.
How about the Cougs? Look great. You can't lose with it. And some more dates for folks to have on the radar. I know we've talked about this before, but it doesn't hurt to remind everyone. Nights with Cougar Athletics, that's coming up. New format, March 17th in Seattle, Victory Hall at the Box Yard. April 17th in Prosser, May 15th in Spokane at Northern Quest. And just one other thought for you, John. We're talking here today, and the Super Bowl's right around the corner. We know one thing for sure, that a Coug is going to be being fit for a Super Bowl ring at some point. We just don't know which Coug that's going to be. We got Abe Lucas with the Seahawks, Kyle Williams with the Patriots. I know Coug fans love Kyle Williams. Maybe more Coug fans than not are hoping it's going to be Abe Lucas that gets fitted for that Super Bowl ring. But no matter what, from a WSU perspective, we can't lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty awesome to have that type of representation. Two incredible Cougs with Abe and with Kyle. Certainly in our part of the country, there's a lot of Seahawks fans, a lot of those that are rooting on the blue and green. But a best of luck to both of them. I have vivid memories of Kyle Williams in the Holiday Bowl 2 years ago, and the game that he had there, which was awesome, kind of putting his stamp on his Cougar career. It adds validity to what we're doing here in the football program. And I'll even take it a step further. What we're doing in our athletic department, when you look at, we've talked about Morgan Weaver before on this podcast, playing professional soccer. Trinity Rodman, you watch what she's doing right now for female soccer and boosting that to new heights that it's never had before. Cedric Howard, Jalen Wells, obviously what Clay is doing. You want to list out some Cougs that are competing at the next level and not just there, but making a lasting impact there. I thought, not that anybody was listening to me on a Pro Bowl vote, but we had some Cougs that should have been on the Pro Bowl ballot this year. So you look what Donald Henley did, or Frankie Louvo, or up and down. Like we've got some Cougs that are making an impact there. So a testament to what our support staff and our coaches do here. You want to compete at the next level, you want to get a great degree, Washington State's the place to be.
We got Cougs killing it at the professional level, and we got so much going on right here with WSU Athletics right now. We're starting with men's basketball, 3-game winning streak, victories since we last talked over Seattle U and Portland. 104 points against Portland, most by the Cougs in regulation at Beasley since 1995 in that victory on Saturday. Next up on the road at Oregon State on Wednesday, then at home against Santa Clara. That's Saturday. Santa Clara, that will be part of the Clock Tower Collection retro jersey Thursday night. So come see those and a great opponent in Santa Clara as well. That's going to be fun Saturday at Beasley for women's basketball. And we can't wait to get caught up on women's hoops coming up. But most recently for them, fell at Santa Clara, battled in a tight one against Gonzaga. This week on the road at San Diego at Pepperdine. Cougs defeated Pepperdine earlier this year in Pullman. So looking for the regular season sweep there. Track and field, a great showing at the UW Invitational in Seattle. Sophomore Rosemary Longisa set a school record in the mile. This is remarkable, breaking her previous mark by 16 seconds, crossing in 4 minutes, 24.59 seconds. It's just that those numbers are just out of this world. It was a school and meet record, marked the third fastest time ever run by a collegian. And then Chep 2 also set a program record in the 3,000 meters at the meet. This week, WSU will send a contingent to the Riverfront Invitational in Spokane. For tennis last week, they opened at home, defeating Fresno State 4-0. This week at Sacramento State Saturday and at UC Davis, I should say Sacramento State Friday at UC Davis on Saturday. Swimming, dominating wins at home against Idaho on senior day, and then going to Idaho the next morning. Senior day, WSU won 13 of 14 events, recognizing 6 seniors. In the last home meet, WSU closed out the dual season undefeated for the second straight year, going 7-0 this season after posting an 8-0 mark last year. WSU will train next in action in February 18th through the 21st in the Mountain West Conference Championships in Houston. And women's golf begins their 2026 schedule Monday in Palm Desert at the Mountain Classic Match Play event. Another spring sport is starting. So a lot to celebrate and a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, Chris, I'd give you a second to catch your breath there, because that's a slate of Cougs in action, which is just a great reminder. I was looking at this bullet pointed list of all the things coming up, of the amount of opportunities for Cougs to compete, the amount of opportunities to see our Cougar student athletes in action. A reminder to folks, to whether they're here at home or you're at a different location and there's an opportunity to see them, our Cougs are competing at a high level. And so continue to invite everyone to come out to watch them, to embrace them. And again, I know I already paid homage or kudos to the support staff, but the amount of student athletes that we have out there competing all at one time right now, 400 plus student athletes that we support on a daily basis, and just proud of that group for putting these Cougs in a place to be successful, in competition, in the community, and in the classroom. Just really proud of the group. And reminder, I think single game baseball tickets will be on sale by the time that this podcast drops. So season tickets are on sale. Single game tickets will be on sale. We'll see you at Bailey Brayton this spring. Going to be a good one.
Can't wait for that. And we are looking forward to visiting with our next guest, Kamie Ethridge. We'll talk with Kamie right after this word from our sponsor, BECU.
How do you spot a Coug in the wild? Head to toe crimson, gray, and, well, anything except purple? A simple go Cougs at an airport halfway around the globe? Or maybe just a little pride from BECU and some extra money in your pocket when you pay for your tacos. Get the card Cougs everywhere recognize. Join today. BECU. Go Cougs.
Looking forward to welcoming in our first guest of this week's episode of the podcast. Jon, can you tell us who we have joining us here?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. We're pretty pleased to be joined now with head women's basketball coach Kamie Ethridge. Coach, how are you this morning?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys.
So I listened into practice for just a second this morning. You were getting after them in a good way. Was the energy good in practice this morning?
I've always felt pretty good about the energy. It's just been a hard year in a lot of ways. We haven't caught as many breaks as we would like to. We haven't made as many breaks as we would like to. We haven't been as healthy. There's a lot of things that we haven't quite lived up to some of our standards and some of the things that we want to accomplish. The one thing that's been amazing is this team has stuck together. This team is positive. This team wants to win. They hate losing, and they love each other, and they're still in this thing, and they want to be good, and they want to get better. And it's really been a great team to be around in the midst of a really hard season.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that perspective for those that aren't necessarily able to see the spaces between the games of what your group, the camaraderie there, the energy there, kind of the chemistry. It seems like it's a group that embraces each other and is grateful to be around each other, and that's palpable to see and to feel.
I last year was the first time we really had that many kids leave in the portal, and a lot of kids left for a lot of different reasons, and most of them for a lot of money, and
Sure.
power programs and things like that. And after the season, there was so much. I was able to talk to these players that stayed, and sometimes coaches, we miss things that are going on, and the dynamic on the team, and the getting along, and it always looks the part, and our kids do a great job recruiting, and culture is something we work at all the time. But we had some kind of dysfunctions within our team a year ago, and and could overcome some of the things because we were pretty talented, and so it's really been encouraging to have a team that wanted to come back into this environment, and now watch them get along, and how invested they are in one another, and how they take care of each other. And one of the things that happened that just you don't ever want to happen is freshmen felt kind of isolated and alone, and they didn't get brought in very well a year ago. And all those freshmen that kind of went through that are still here, they all just swore that will never happen again. We are going to take care of those young ones. They're going to be us. We're never going to let that piece kind of get tainted. And because of that, this team has just been the best of friends, and want good for each other. And there's not any jealousy or why am I not getting mine? It's a real, and that's what's made this really rewarding, and makes me, as their leader and head coach, want some success for them, even more so than just any other reason. It's just they've been in this for each other, and they want to be great. They love this place, and they want to win for this place, and it's not happened yet. But we're going to still fight, and they will, and they're not going to give up.
Well, I'm grateful for your leadership in that, certainly. If we talk about your journey a little bit, my notes say that you're from Lubbock, but you're from Hereford, Texas, or born in Hereford, Texas, correct?
Well, we had a house in Canyon. I think
Okay.
my family was living in Canyon, which is by Amarillo, and the closest hospital was Hereford. So that's the only reason I'm from
Got it.
Hereford. I was born in a Hereford hospital, and I think when I was 6, we moved to Lubbock, and so lived in Lubbock for most of my life, and still go back there. So yeah, grew up in Lubbock.
Monterey High School, correct?
Yes.
There is. So I was watching the Oklahoma-Texas women's game this weekend. Is it Aaliyah Chavez, who's also from Monterey High School?
Yeah.
Pretty good little freshman there. Pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
Your Longhorns handled business there on that day. I don't know because I just learned this. I don't know if there's others that realize there's another Cougar legend that went to Monterey High School, Craig Elo.
That's right. He's
Did you all overlap at all during your time?
He was. I had an older sister that, so I think 3 years older than me, and he was in that class. So knew of him, followed his career, watched him. Was disappointed, back then. Was disappointed he didn't go to Texas Tech, and the fact that how in the world does he end up here, and then I end up here, and we meet again. But yeah, just loved watching him play and admire him so much.
Yeah, pretty awesome connection there. You won a state championship in 1981 when you're in high school. Is that what year of school was that?
I was a junior in high school that year.
So what was your recruiting process like that led you to UT?
Wasn't real recruited way back then.
That seems like a miss. Let's just be honest. That seems like a miss.
A long time ago, Texas University Interscholastic League, UIL, is the governing body in Texas, and they dominated. They didn't let players play club basketball, AAU basketball. So we weren't allowed to go in the summer events and go all around the country and compete nationally. So it was great for Texas and Texas Tech and all the in-state schools, because they knew all the good players in Texas, and literally no one really recruited in Texas because, they never saw them on the road in the recruiting world. And even when I got involved with USA basketball, I was like an unknown because, I was from Texas. And so I would go into those tryouts and I'd be like, no one knows who I am. I just got to go find a way to get on a team. And so yeah, Texas recruited me. I mean, a little bit. Kansas State recruited me a little bit. Some in-state schools, Louisiana Tech back then a little bit. But my sister, I have an older sister that's 1 year older than me, and she went to the University of Texas before me. She played too, and so it was a real easy choice to follow her to Texas.
So maybe we'll talk about the college experience there. But if memory serves, you mentioned USA basketball. You played in Seoul Olympics. You played in the Pan Am Games. You played in the university games, all of which I think were gold medals too. So pretty high standard there. But maybe talk about those travel experiences, the places that took you, and what that experience was like.
Yeah, just amazing what this sport has done and given me in my lifetime. Something I love to do, and again, small town, and just made my way into paying for my college experience. Got at the University of Texas, and clearly they have a unbelievable program and get you out in front of people, and you become known when you're at the University of Texas with the success that we had. But I remember as early as, back then they had sports festivals. I mean, they built in these games, and it was east, west, north, south in the United States. So they were trying to make all these games. So it was early stages. All those things are gone now, but got involved with USA basketball there and made festival teams in the summers. I think 2 of those. That got my feet in the door with USA basketball. I think the World University team is the first one that I made. I tried out for the 84 Olympic team, and I was one of the last 3 cut in the 84 Olympics, and that was when Pat Summitt was coaching that team. I was a sophomore. I just finished my sophomore year that summer. So obviously, was pursuing at a really high level. The next year, I just became a lot of those players that were on the Olympic team. They don't play in that next summer, and so I just got shoved right into kind of a starting position and led USA basketball at the World University. The next summer was the World Cup, World Championship, which is again on par with the Olympics. That's the biggest thing besides the Olympics. Yeah. And we went to Russia. I think I was in Japan some of those years before. We went to Russia. I've been in Hong Kong, went to Russia twice that summer. And obviously did a lot of other smaller tournaments in places, Finland, some of those different countries, and finished up at the Olympics in Seoul, Korea in '88. So, and then played a year in Italy after the Olympics. And then I just played 1 year professionally after the Olympics in Italy. So yeah, a lot of places.
Pretty incredible what this game of basketball can do and where it can take you. I went out of chronological order there a little bit, but you also were a national champion at the University of Texas as well. Maybe talk through whether was that your favorite year of your college career, or was there something else that stood out during your time at UT?
Well, I just loved my experience at Texas and loved playing for Coach Conrad. We had like 4 of us came in at the same time, 4 freshmen, and no one transferred back then, right? So we all lived through the entire college experience, and we had other people that redshirted and came back into our class. So by the time we made it to my senior year, we had like a group of 7 or 8 seniors. Like, it was just unbelievable how heavy senior oriented we were. And so you just felt like you grew up with these people for 4 years. They were your teammates for 4 years. So, the national championship really felt like a family and something that you did with someone for, like I said, 2 and 3 and 4 years together. Versus back then with the Olympics, we literally got together every summer for like 2 months, and it wasn't like a year-round thing. And even so for 2 summers we stayed together. But now they keep those teams together so much longer, and they train so much harder. But back then we literally would train for 6 or 7 weeks and then go play in the Olympics. And fortunately could win those. Nowadays, it's not so easy to win them, I don't think. But so, yeah, in so
Sure.
many ways, individually, I remember standing on the Olympic platform and watching the anthem, hearing the anthem and watching the flag go up and just knowing that was the greatest individual accomplishment. And, just thinking of all the people who sacrificed for me and for me to get there. But, as far as an experience of people that you just lived and died with for felt like a lifetime, the run at the national championship was amazing because 34-0, we didn't lose a game that year. We had been disappointed the year before and got upset. And so to finish a career off with a national championship like that was a dream come true.
Yeah, pretty incredible. You mentioned Coach Conrad. Were there other coaches or individuals that mentored you to becoming a coach, or others that you would go to for advice, or that you just kind of relied on as for mentorship?
Yeah, so many. Really, to this day, Coach Conrad is a great mentor. I would never call her anything but a mentor, and because I still call her Coach Conrad. I can't call her anything else. That's my coach, and I worked for Jim Foster, and he was an amazing mind. He started Gino. Gino was his assistant for a long time, and we were at Vanderbilt together, and he went to Ohio State and things like that. Amazing basketball mind. I worked for Jane Albright, who is just completely opposite of me and how we coach, but so good in so many ways. I mean, you just pick and choose the people that have touched your life. I was so fortunate to Vivian Stringer, who's has retired from Rutgers. She coached me in one of one of our first, I think, the university games, and she was an amazing coach. And then for 2 years, 2 summers, I played for Kay Yao, who was at North Carolina State when Valvano was there, and ironically, she died of breast cancer and has made Play for Kay is going on right now, the month of February, and in women's basketball for her. She was an amazing, godly woman that just, positive and kind, but tough and just wanted such good things for people around her, was so good to so many people. So love the experience of playing for her as well. So I just feel really blessed to have worked for people who are amazing. Deb Patterson, who's still on my staff, worked for her for 18 years. Have had amazing people that have taught me the game and, watched how they handle their team and lead their team. And when you're young, you just pick and choose. Yeah, I want to be like that. Oh, I'm not sure I'd do it like that. And you just kind of, I think the biggest key for coaches out there is just, you got to become who you are, and you got to be authentic, and you got to be something that you can be on consistently every single day, and that your kids are going to believe in you, in how you handle yourself and how you handle them.
Those were, if anybody was listing those out, that's a pretty, there's some legends in the game there that you had listed there as mentors. That's pretty incredible. You have rebuilt this program to put it on a national stage, winning Pac-12 championship. Maybe talk through what it was like when you first got here, and the changes that you've made, and the relationships built, or how you've taken it from what you inherited to where it is now.
Yeah, I feel like it's learned so much. This is year 8, and can remember when I got the job and felt so fortunate to be walking into the conference, the Pac-12, and just had never been on the Pacific Northwest, had never recruited here, but just felt such a draw to, Pat Chund, President Schultz, and that leadership, and McCoy. I mean, still have her message to me to try to come in and interview. I remember driving around with Deeds, and he was like, it took about 5 minutes to drive around the town. And I thought, when are we going to get to the rest of the town? And that was it. And then he took me over here, and we walked through this building, and it was on a Saturday or Sunday, so no one was around. And I saw the good facilities and some things, but I think I called back that night and just said, I don't know that we can do it here. I don't know this little town, and it's great in so many ways, and then walked into the administration and the interview and just felt what I think most people do when they're here in Pullman and around the people that are in this athletic department is that it's the people. If you believe in the people and if the right people are around you, you have a chance to build something. And they were really, patient and said, we can't give you everything you want, but we'll try to get you everything you need in order to compete at the highest level. And fortunately, the league really gave us a chance to get out and recruit some players. We still had to do it. A lot of players left, same kind of situation. I think I was left with 5 players from a roster of 12. And so had to bring in some players that we had signed at Northern Colorado, which is kind of crazy that Northern Colorado kids could come and play here. I had to sign a few other players, but just started working on the culture part and feeding off of that. People were going to be patient, and they were going to give us what we needed. And now it was our job to find, kids that wanted to love this place and that would fit here. It's not going to be for everyone, right? We all know that. But that they would be unbelievably taken care of. They'd get better on the court. They'd have a big time experience of playing basketball at the highest level. And we were going to surround them with unbelievably quality people and character people, high character people. And it just takes time. You got to get the right people in and sometimes the other people out. And got really, really fortunate with, we've never had a 5-star athlete or a 4-star or probably many 3-stars. But at the time, we knew the Ledger Walkers. Crystal played for us at Northern Colorado and eventually came here. And that got us in the door with Charlize, who was wanting a bigger stage than Northern Colorado. And, Charlize was a game changer in so many ways. So was Crystal. That sister combo, their toughness and their competitiveness and their will to win. I mean, it immediately made an impact with the other players that we already had in the program and the role players that we had. So, recruiting is big. You got to get the right people. You got to have the right, and then they have to be driven to be great. And that's and for us, we do that part, and then we just cannot ever come off of working our culture and trying to be better every single day and trying to drive, just the intangibles that are going to make us successful long after they finish their playing career. And again, that's our daily pursuit.
Well, we know you've got a busy daily schedule. We're grateful for your time. We're grateful for your leadership and your vision for the program, Coach. Thank you so much. We'll let you get back to the rest of your day.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Again, as always, a big thanks to Kamie Ethridge. We will take a quick time out. When we come back, Mackenzie Chatfield will join us. That's right after this.
How do you spot a Coug in the wild? Head to toe crimson, gray, and, well, anything except purple? A simple go Cougs at an airport halfway around the globe? Or maybe just a little pride from BECU and some extra money in your pocket when you pay for your tacos. Get the card Cougs everywhere recognize. Join today. BECU. Go Cougs.
Well, we not only have one great guest this week to get us all up to speed on the women's basketball program here at WSU, we've got 2 great guests. John, can you tell us who we've got joining us now?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Excited for this. We've got Mackenzie Chatfield joining us now. Mackenzie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your childhood, if you would, where you grew up. We heard you played rugby, volleyball, and netball. Maybe describe netball for those that aren't familiar with that before you got into basketball.
Yeah, I grew up all over the place. I was born in New Zealand, and then me and my family had moved to Singapore when we moved to the States when I was 2, and then we lived there for a couple years, and then we moved to Singapore for 3.5 years, and then finally back to New Zealand when I was about 9 or 10. And yeah, I grew up playing all the sports. My mom was a netball coach, so that kind of got me into that field. Netball, I basically describe it to most people as basketball without the backboard, and you cannot dribble. So kind of as a passing game, and there's only 7 people on each team on the court at the same time. So, you know, that kind of was my first sport. And then my parents are big play everything and do everything. So I got into rugby and I got into touch rugby and then I got into volleyball. And then finally, the lucky last sport happened to be basketball. So yeah, I picked that up and I decided that this could be a little bit fun. And now we're here.
So it's pretty neat to hear about how such a dynamic background in the sports. You don't hear about that always anymore, but maybe go a little bit more into why you chose basketball to ultimately win the day there.
It's funny because I thought that netball would be my sport, and I thought that I would go home and I would hopefully play professional netball and I would represent my country and that would be it. And then in high school, I started playing basketball and I started to enjoy it a little bit more. And then my high school school didn't really like people playing netball and basketball. And I think that didn't really sit right with me. So I was like, if they don't want me to play both, then I'll go play the one that they don't want me to play. So I'll go play basketball. I'll go focus on that. And yeah, I learned about the States and I went to a great high school and we had a great high school team and we ended up winning a national championship my last year of school. So that was when I was like, why not give this a go? And, you know, my parents always tell me the worst thing that can happen is you have to come back home. So I was like, this is a pretty good gig.
Well, during your recruiting process, what made the Cougs stand out? And do you have any funny Coach Ethridge stories from that time?
Well, my recruiting process was weird in high school. It was COVID, so it was all online. So I initially committed to Western Kentucky for 2 years, and that's where I played my first collegiate basketball, and I was really drawn to the assistant coach there who had a big impact on me, and she still does. But that just wasn't the right place for me. So entering the transfer portal and getting recruited by Coach Ian Laurie was an incredible experience. I mean, they have so much connection with New Zealand and with players who have played for them that I know. So I knew that there was a sense of trust. And yeah, I came on a visit and, you know, people say that when you know, you know. And that was exactly how I felt on my visit. I just knew that this was going to be the right place for me. And yeah, it's incredible.
Well, you have that initial spark about WSU and Pullman, and as you've been able to be here and set down roots here, what do you love most about the Palouse and WSU?
It reminds me of New Zealand in a unique way. The hills and the smaller town vibe, I think that is just incredible. The community here is amazing. I mean, to turn up to games, no matter what our record is, and people are cheering us on and telling us that they believe in us is something that you can't get all over the country. The facilities, what we have and what we are given. And yeah, it's nothing like you would get anywhere else. And I think that, you know, having teammates from 9 different countries and being able to play with people who represent their national team. And there's just so many incredible things that I don't think I would have gotten if I had gone anywhere else. And, you know, that to me just sells it.
Oh, amen to that. Being a Coug is special. Being a student athlete is difficult from a time constraints. You've got travel, you've got games, training, class, studying. If you have any free time, what do you do in your free time for fun?
For fun, I like to read. I love to read books. That's what I would consider fun.
Any particular genre of book?
It changes. I'm into my thriller
Okay.
range right now. Some plot twists. That's what I'm quite liking. So that's what I do in my spare time. But I'm also, I love to walk and I love to work out and I love to cook and bake. And but no, I think reading is probably my hobby when I get some peace and quiet. But apart from that, just hanging out with my teammates. That's what I like to do.
Well, what are you studying and what are you thinking about when it comes to life after your basketball career when that is all wrapped up?
Currently I'm doing psychology and humanities, but when I finish basketball, I would love to coach. That would be my goal. I want to give back to, the community that gave me so much. And I want to be a coach that, maybe some would say that I didn't have for quite a long time. So that's really my goal. And I just want to help kids and help people just be the best that they can be.
That's pretty awesome to hear. Mackenzie, maybe a capstone question here. Greatest thing about being a Coug?
Wow, that's a good question. There's so much to be grateful for, and there are so many good things about it. And I've heard great stories that when you leave college, being a Coug will always follow you. And there are so many connections in the world with wearing Washington State on your jersey every single day. But the friendships and the people that I have been allowed to meet in only 6 months of being here has been life-changing. I have some of the coolest teammates and the coolest coaches that I've ever had. And to know that in 20 years' time, I'll be able to call them and be able to hang out with them or get some advice, like that is just next to none of one of the best things in the world.
Well said, Mackenzie. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Well, Mackenzie, thank you for your time today. And of course, continued best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Well, that will do it for this episode of the podcast. Not only a big thanks to Mackenzie, but Kamie Ethridge as well. For Jon Haarlow, I'm Chris King. And one more thank you to our sponsor, BECU. That will wrap up this week's Inside WSU Athletics podcast. Talk to you again next week. And as always, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.